Hi, Rev Fam. Welcome back to the revolution and welcome to Capricorn season. Happy holidays, happy cozy season, happy Saturnalia, happy whatever you call it. The darkest time of the year is upon us and it will soon turn into the bringing back of the light. So, January 2020. Yes, it's Capricorn season, but it's also 2020. And we've been waiting quite a while for a couple of different conjunctions that are coming up. So let's go through the signs and I'll try to relate these conjunctions to the signs they'll be affecting the most from now until 2021. In the all signs videos, we'll be looking at the planetary aspects that will be the most important for each sign. Good? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, first up on January 21st, we have the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So there's a lot of fear around this one because it's a real smash and grab kind of energy. Whatever you need, whatever you want, if you have the power to take it, you're going to. Might equals right. And interestingly, this happens in Capricorn, and across from that, you have Cancer about to give up the lunar node, the north node, going, wait, no, it's supposed to be the exact opposite. We're not supposed to be just destroying every resource we have. We're not supposed to be using people as expendable, objects. It's a hard time. The Saturn-Pluto conjunction is going to be a difficult time for the sweeter souls, for the more feeling-based among us. For Capricorn themselves, you have to really be careful now in January that you don't try to take more than what is yours, than what is right for you. So, and aside from that, there is also this idea of certain iniquities, certain crimes, certain questionable behaviors that come out very publicly. So you want to rein in as much of that Pluto-Saturn conjunction energy as you can. If you can get away with not spending much money in January, if you can get away with not going on any ego trips, Capricorn, you'll be very, very good for most of the rest of the year. Next, we have on March 21st, Saturn entering Aquarius. So Saturn has had quite a run. It's been home for a little bit, and now it's time to get back on the road. So Saturn in Capricorn was the establishment, was the power of the establishment, was the direction the establishment wanted to go in. That's what we did. And now we come to a place of keen social awareness. Now the things we want are, it's the opposite of might equals right. It's no, the soul is right. The gentle are right. The compassionate are right. The meek will inherit the earth. So it's a very, March turns everything on its side. And for Aquarians, it brings you a wonderful sense of blessing and peace and stability, but also you feel vindicated by Saturn's energy coming in and making the things that you find really important in life really important for everyone. And it's been a minute since people cared about the things you care about, but it's great that they will, because the things you care about are very valid and they are the things that we need to move forward into the future. We should all be listening to you. So that's Aquarius. And now on December 21st, 2020, you're going to have the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction happening. Okay, so this is how do you say it? It's right at the first degrees of Aquarius. So it's like it comes together in Capricorn and moves right over into Aquarius. So for a lot of us, it's Saturn and Capricorn made certain things impossible. We looked at those walls and thought, I can't scale that wall. I'm glad it's there and I'm glad I got to see it and I'm glad I got to know that I can never scale it. this aspect comes in, and all of a sudden you look at the wall and you see a ladder and you're like, wait, not only can I climb this, I can get over to the other side. So very happy about that. We've also got a long transit of Mars in Aries. So let's talk about that. Aries peeps will be agitated, to say the least. Although your love life, Aries, can go really well if you can harness some of that Mars and Aries energy. Venus spends a lot of time in 2020 in Gemini, and there's even a retrograde of Venus in Gemini. So Gemini, you have a chance in 2020 to either grow up and make really sound adult decisions and have a decade of adult fulfilling, move your life along at the right time, at the right pace stuff going on. Or you can fail the tests that will be put in front of you. You can let Venus down, which then will devolve you into a different kind of Gemini. And you may spend the next decade jumping from relationship to relationship to relationship. So really, Venus is coming to Gemini and asking some questions. You know, you've been through the ringer. You've learned everything you needed to learn. Do you actually want what's good for you or not? So it's tough love for the Aries and for the Gemini, actually. But if you have Aries and Gemini placements, and I have very heavy placements in both. I have a stellium in Gemini in the 12th house, and I have a stellium in Aries in the South Node. You will be particularly affected by these transits. And you have a chance then, if you have heavy Aries placements, heavy Gemini placements, to really move into a completely adult, fulfilling, reciprocal situation that will open up the rest of your life and all the other things that you really want to do that are on hold right now because you are lacking that security that you get from having a partner. So that's Gemini and Aries. Let's move on now to Taurus. So Taurus, you will benefit, of course, from all the stuff that will happen in Capricorn because you have Uranus in your sign, and it will make certain aspects throughout the year that will be really, really good for you. But you also have to watch the ego. You have to watch the need to bulldoze, through situations where you may actually be getting exactly what you want, but you're not getting it in the tone you want. You're not getting it in the timing you want. And you risk, and we've said this so many times about Taurus, you risk losing it all by being too pushy. Okay, Gemini, we did Cancer. So Cancer, you have a chance to really just, keep blooming. You can get into a very positive relationship. You can get into some very positive work situations. You can use everything that happens in the 12th house with Gemini to your advantage. You can really go deep into yourself and figure out, what is that certain mix of chemistry and whatever it is, what's that mix of amicable conversation, chemistry, almost an asexual kind of like that you can have for someone. What's that where all of that comes together and brews this kind of person that Cancer says, I want to be with that person. In 2020, not only will you feel that way, but you get a chance to move on it. So that's really good. Okay, now let's move from Cancer to Leo. Leos, you have a chance to heal your heart and do really well in business, but there is this nagging insecurity that will start to come up and want to be dealt with in 2020. How much of your life is going to get spent making yourself feel better for not being where you want to be? How much of your life has turned into a race with no end, and you feel like you're running 1,000,000 miles a minute and getting more and more exhausted? Because I know Leos are exhausted. I know you guys aren't having the easiest time. And I think you think that you can replace very human needs with work. And that's just not the case. Okay, let's move along. I have some notes here. Yes, we're doing planetary aspects, so I have notes. What else did I want to say about Leos? There is also a sense of, you know, the family burdens from 2019 will not carry over into 2020. You will have a chance to start new if you want in an old relationship, in a new relationship, even with your family. You get to start fresh. And a lot of you need that because so much of what you're going through is, you know, remnants and reactions and having to. So it's about paying for things. It's about having consequences. It's about if you have been doing everything, you know, by the book, just like Gemini, if you've been doing everything by the letter, you're good, you know, you're good. Work gets better and better and better as long as you are on the right side of things. It's a moral dilemma for Leo in 2020, really. Okay, let's move along. Who do I have here next? Sorry, this is what happens when I'm reading at the same time. Okay, so Virgo. Virgo is entering a really good time, although I don't think a lot of you know that it's coming. And so you're like really nervous and you're like, wait, but you keep saying there's going to be love, there's going to be romance. And I haven't felt any of that. What are you even talking about? Who are these Virgos you're hanging out with? Actually, none of the Virgos I have been hanging out with are with anyone. They're all single. But that doesn't mean that 2020 is going to be a year of being single. 2020 is going to be a year for Virgos, inshallah, of marriage, kids, you know, getting engaged, falling in love deeply, deeply, and then being able to carry this new thing into a decade if they want to. It's super simple. You have some aspects coming together that make you really feel. It's like someone takes the cover, the cellophane off of, you know how you have the cellophane on the phone? And you like peel it off when you first get the phone. It's like Virgo's had its plastic cover on this whole time. Someone peels the cover off and you're like brand new and shiny, but now you can get smudged. Yeah. Now you can get smudged. But you have this amazing doorway of energy in 2020 where you can really, you know, just walk through the doors of happiness, walk through the halls of that church, you know, put that dress on, put that tux on, put that whatever on, and, you know, go live your life with a partner in a way that I don't think that you thought before that you could. Which is sad, but it's also cute, you know, because now you get to do it and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even think I was going to get to do that. So, Libra. Okay. Oh, Libra. Oh, Libra. Okay. You don't want to play the victim, but you have some really shocking events in 2020 where you have to decide, am I the victim or am I going to own, you know, whatever is going on with me? Am I going to own my situation? Am I going to take accountability for it? Even if you take accountability for it, it's still a hard road, but only because you're reforming everything. And that is a painful process and a beautiful process, and one that at some point or another, Libra was going to have to learn how to do this for themselves. It's one thing to do it on other people's backs. It's another thing to do it with the help of your friends and family. And it's yet another thing, Libra, to stand on your own feet and be able to do it. So in terms of how you'll just be the general vibe of 2020 for Libras, you want only what is the true. If it's not everything above board, you love me more than anybody, everything, you don't want it. So that makes 2020 a bit lonely, but also very exciting because, you know, as soon as you make up your mind what you want comes to you. Okay, Scorpios. Okay. You know, in Denmark, the first like 6-7 years that they're in school, they don't actually learn anything. They are being socialized. Their only job is to get along with each other and learn how to play together and learn how to adjust in society. So for Scorpios, 2020 is like being in that 0 to 7 age group. You are out here in 2020 learning, relearning how to communicate, getting warmer, getting more compassionate, making more connections, therefore making more money. You're getting married, you're having babies, you're moving into a really, you know, I'm going to take the world into my arms kind of space, and it's beautiful and it's so good for you, and we're all happy that you've made it this far, and it is not lost on all of us how hard it has been. Okay, so next up we have Sagittarius. You have a lot of money and work related stuff going on in 2020, and that just makes sense because of how things are moving. Good. The thing that you have to be careful with now is that Jupiter didn't necessarily leave you with a lot of humility, but now as everything moves into your house of work and money, now you will need the humility. So you're going to have to be quick on your feet here and learn how to unlearn feeling so lucky all the time, even if it's just when you're communicating with people so you don't rub them the wrong way. Now, why is that so important? Well, in 2020, it is really important that you not rub people the wrong way. In 2020, it is really important that you take what Jupiter gave you and that you are grateful for it. And the way that you are grateful for it is that you are very magnanimous with your talent, with your blessings, with your time, with your money. And that will just bring you more money. And that's exactly what you're looking for right now. And there's also nothing wrong with that. Okay, now we go to Capricorn. We did Capricorn already, but I'll just go over a few more things. There is some general anxiety within Capricorns that happens around their season. I want you to just take a deep breath. Okay, if you can take 5 deep breaths every night, hold them for a beat and let them out, you will start to feel a little bit better. You have some resting anxiety that's coming from your season coming up. You have major planetary aspects coming up. You have a lot of pressure on you. You're putting a lot of pressure on you. And I need you to understand that this is supposed to be a time for you to relax and have fun. And I know that's not what it seems like, but that is actually what you're supposed to be doing. I know. You're like, no, but it's 2020 and I'm responsible. No, you're not. You're just human. I know you don't want to hear that in your season. Happy birthday, but you're just a human. And you don't need to direct the tide of the entire year coming up. I know you want to, but you don't need to, and you can't. And you need to stop putting so much stress and pressure on yourself, especially when it comes to trying to direct the tide of your own life. Stay at the fountain. Nobody directs anything. Nobody makes anything happen, Capricorn. Okay, Aquarius, we already talked about as well. Of all the signs, I think Aquarius will be the one that will benefit the most, and we need them to benefit the most, as I've just said earlier, because they are the ones that will bring us ideologically where we need to be. Aquarians are the ones that are allowed to shame everyone else into having principles, you know? So that's Aquarius, and now we move to Pisces. One more. I'm so glad I'm so organized. Okay. So yeah, just reading over the aspects again. In March, you have some time coming up where you can be very lucky, but things kind of, you fall ass backwards into stuff. Any point in February, March where you try to control how the flow goes, you'll fall on your face. So really 2020 becomes an exercise in understanding the flow and understanding what flows to stay out of. There are certain currents you want to be in. There are certain currents you never want to touch again. If you've been violent, if you've been angry, if you've been deeply, deeply resentful and hurt by your partner, Pisces, this is a time where the wave just carries you away, or the wave just carries them away, because the pain is too deep. Same thing with Cancer and Scorpio. If you're dealing with anyone right now where the pain is too deep, 2020 will carry that person away. Fire signs, if you're dealing with someone right now and the pain is too deep, 2020 will give you clarity as to what kind of person they are and what kind of person you are, therefore alleviating some of that grief. Air signs, if you're dealing with someone who's giving you a lot of grief or you're not understanding them, understand that the more you understand yourself, the more you will understand them. So any confusion you are feeling from a fellow air sign, it has to do with you not being completely aware of what you're putting out there, because air signs are just reactive to each other. And that brings us to earth signs. So earth signs, if you are dealing with someone and they're giving you a lot of grief, understand that 2020 is all about you, and the person that is trying to somehow make their way out of your life, they're actually being forced out of your life to make room for all the new things that you really, really, really need, and that will change you deeply. You know, there is a new blossoming of compassion in 2020 that I don't think that we've seen before. Of course, there is war. Of course, there is predation. Of course, there is this very scary January coming up. But we also see that in the most frightening times, in the most debased of moments, we have true moments of clarity and hope and goodness that emerge, because people are, or we would hope people are intrinsically good. And Saturn in Aquarius will teach us that, and Venus in Gemini will teach us that, and Mars in Aries will make sure that we remember it. How's that for all signs? I'm going to get on those meditations in just a second. If you would like to book a personal reading, there is a Cameo link below. Those are mini readings. And if you would like a longer reading, I'll also include a link for that. And everything else will be in the description. In London in March, we are having an amazing event. We're going to go out, we're going to have the satsang, and then we're going to go out across the street, and it's going to be super, super fun. It's going to be at the Tara Theater, inshallah. So tickets for that will be below as well. Yes, love you.